Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at this lecture on ancient knowledge systems.
Right.
And I think it's going to be pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Because it looks at how different elements like the Hebrew alphabet,
Uh-huh.
the zodiac, and ancient Egyptian rituals,
Yeah.
they're all connected.
They really are.
Yeah.
It's amazing how these ancient cultures, they
Yeah.
didn't separate knowledge into
Right.
different categories like we tend to today.
Yeah.
You know, they saw everything as being part of one big whole.
Totally. And this lecture really dives into that
Mm-hmm.
by starting with the four elements.
Okay.
There's, fire, air, earth, and water.
Yeah, the basics.
The basics.
Right?
But what really struck me is that
Yeah.
each element is defined by two specific qualities.
Right.
So,
Right.
for instance, fire is hot and dry.
Exactly. And that's where it starts to get interesting
Right.
because that system of qualities leads directly into the zodiac.
Oh, okay.
So think about the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius.
Huh?
They're all known for that kind of energy
Yeah.
and passion,
Right.
which directly reflect those hot and dry qualities of the fire element.
I see.
And these groupings of three signs are called triplicities,
Okay.
and each one of them links those three signs to a specific element
Right.
and its core qualities.
I see. So it's not just about personality traits.
Right.
It's about understanding how these fundamental elements
Yeah,
shape different expressions of energy.
absolutely.
So what about the other triplicities then?
Well, you've got the earth signs,
Okay.
Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn,
Right.
grounded, practical,
Yeah.
just like the element of earth.
Makes sense.
And then you have your air signs,
Okay.
Gemini, Libra, Aquarius,
Right.
all about intellect and communication,
Right.
which reflects those airy qualities of thought
Mm.
and connection.
Okay.
And then finally, you've got your water signs,
Right.
Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces,
Yeah.
known for their emotional depth
Mm-hmm.
and intuition,
Yeah.
which mirrors the flowing, feeling nature of water.
So it's like the ancients were creating this map
Uh-huh.
of human experience
Yeah.
through these elements
Mm-hmm.
and their corresponding signs.
I like that. A map of human experience. That's
Yeah.
a great way to put it.
But the lecture goes even deeper
Okay.
and connects these elements to the planets
Right.
and the Hebrew alphabet.
Okay.
Now, that's where things got really interesting for me.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah?
I mean, they knew about the 7 classical planets,
Uh-huh.
including the sun,
Right.
and they even had the north and south nodes of the moon's orbit.
Yeah.
Which later got replaced by Neptune and Uranus
Right.
as our understanding of the cosmos expanded.
Right.
But they saw these celestial bodies as influencing not just,
Right.
the physical world, but
Yeah.
also that inner world of human experience.
Okay, so how does the Hebrew alphabet fit into all this?
Well, this is where it gets really incredible.
Okay.
Each letter in the Hebrew alphabet isn't just a sound.
Right.
It's also a number
Uh-huh.
and a symbol.
Okay.
So like the first letter, Aleph,
Right.
is the number 1,
Okay.
and it symbolizes an ox. So right there you have creation strength, a
Mhm. Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
Then you've got Mem,
Okay.
which is the letter associated with water,
Mm-hmm.
and that corresponds to the number 40.
I see.
So you have these layers of meaning woven into each letter
Yeah.
that offer this really profound way of understanding
Uh-huh.
the universe and our place in it.
Okay. So we've got the elements, the
Oh.
zodiac,
Right.
the planets,
Yeah.
and the Hebrew alphabet all interconnected.
It's pretty amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
But then the lecture introduces something called the Sephiroth,
Oh, okay.
which is a Kabbalistic concept.
Yeah.
And it sounds pretty complex.
Right.
These 10 emanations of deity.
Uh-huh.
What does that even mean?
Well, it's definitely a complex system.
Right.
But I think the easiest way to imagine it is visually
Okay.
as the tree of life. I encourage you to look up an image of it later.
Yeah.
But each sephira on this tree,
Uh-huh.
which is represented by a circle,
Okay.
embodies a different aspect of creation
Right.
and consciousness.
So you can think of the Sephiroth as like
Yeah.
a roadmap of divine energy
Mm.
flowing through the universe and within us.
Exactly.
Okay. And each Sephira
Yeah.
has its own qualities,
Uh-huh.
symbolism,
You're right.
and helps us to understand different facets
Mhm.
of our own being and the creative forces in the world.
It's a beautiful system.
It is fascinating how these systems map out a path,
Yeah.
not just for understanding the external world,
Right.
but also our internal landscape.
Exactly.
But does the lecture offer any practical applications of this knowledge?
It does.
I mean, how can we actually work with these concepts in everyday life?
Well, there's actually a really simple but powerful meditation technique
Okay.
that's introduced in the lecture
Uh-huh.
called the fourfold breath. And it's basically just this pattern of breathing and counting to 4.
Mhm.
Super simple, but incredibly effective for calming the mind
Okay.
and connecting with that deeper sense of self.
So we're talking about an ancient meditation technique
Right.
that's still relevant today.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm starting to see how this ancient wisdom isn't just about history.
Mm-hmm.
It's about tapping into something
Yeah,
timeless and powerful within ourselves.
I agree.
What else does the lecture explore in terms of practical application?
Well, there's a section on ritual that I found really fascinating,
Okay.
and it focuses on 2 specific rituals.
Yeah.
The Kabbalistic cross
Okay.
and the lesser ritual of the pentagram.
Okay.
And it's important to note that these aren't just about magic.
Yeah.
They're seen as powerful tools for self-initiation
Okay.
and working with subtle energies.
Rituals can seem kind of intimidating, though.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Can you break down what these rituals involve?
Sure. So the Kabbalistic cross involves physically touching different points.
Okay. On your body while reciting divine names. Okay. It's a way of aligning yourself with cosmic forces. Right. And bringing your energy into harmony with the universe.
And what about the pentagram?
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's often seen as a negative symbol.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
common misconception.
Okay.
The pentagram actually has this really rich history,
Right.
and the symbolism is multifaceted.
Okay.
It can be used for both calling in and banishing energies,
Huh.
depending on how you draw it.
I see.
But essentially, it represents the 5 elements,
Uh-huh.
and it acts as a microcosm of the human being.
Wow. We're uncovering layers upon layers of meaning here.
I know, right?
It's incredible how these ancient systems offer this
Yeah.
tapestry of knowledge.
Yeah.
What comes next in our exploration of the lecture?
Well, next we look at a concept that appears across many different mystical traditions,
Mm-hmm.
including the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
Okay.
And that's the 2 pillars.
The pillars of wisdom?
I've definitely heard of those.
Yeah.
But I'm curious how the lecture explains them.
Well, what's fascinating is how it describes them as representing opposing forces,
Okay.
but in perfect balance.
Right.
So darkness and light,
Uh-huh.
matter and spirit.
Okay.
It's not about one side being good or bad.
Right.
It's about recognizing the interplay of these seemingly opposite forces
Yeah.
and finding that harmony between them.
Okay. And the Book of the Dead
Yeah.
offers a really fascinating glimpse
Right.
into how the ancients viewed these pillars.
It does.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
Yeah.
What does the Book of the Dead say about these pillars?
Well, it describes them as the gateway
Oh,
to the Hall of Truth,
Huh.
which is the ultimate destination for the soul in the afterlife.
Right.
And there's even this intriguing detail about the pillars' illustrations.
Oh.
Like in these archaic depictions,
Uh-huh.
one pillar is black on white and the other is white on black.
Wow.
Yeah.
That imagery is so powerful.
It
And what is this journey to Amentet?
Okay.
That sounds pretty mysterious.
So Amentet is the ancient Egyptian underworld.
Yeah?
And the lecture focuses specifically on the 17th and 125th chapters
Right.
of the Book of the Dead,
Uh-huh.
which detail the soul's journey through Amentet
Okay.
to ultimately unite with Osiris, the god of resurrection.
So we're talking about a symbolic death and rebirth.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a theme that appears in so many spiritual traditions.
It does.
What does the 17th chapter say about this journey?
Well, it has these really vivid descriptions of
Right.
the soul's transformation.
Uh-huh.
Like there's this one passage that says,
Oh.
I am TUM made, one with all things I become and you. I am RA in his rising.
Wow.
Yeah, it's about recognizing the interconnectedness of everything
Right.
and that cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth.
That's a beautiful passage.
It is.
What else does it say?
Well, it emphasizes the importance of understanding the pillars.
Okay.
There's a line that says, I know the northern and the southern pillars, the 2 columns at the gateway of the Hall of Truth. So passing through those pillars
Right.
represents achieving this deeper understanding of reality.
So it's not just about believing.
Right.
It's about truly comprehending
Yeah.
the nature of these opposing forces
Mm-hmm.
and how they work together to create a unified whole.
Exactly.
Okay, so what happens in the 125th chapter?
Okay.
Does the soul actually reach the Hall of Truth?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
Because in the 125th chapter,
Yeah.
the initiate faces the 42 judges.
Huh.
And they have to confess their innocence of various sins
Oh.
and ultimately prove their worthiness to
Right.
enter the Hall of Truth.
So it's like a symbolic reckoning
Yeah.
with our past actions.
Mm-hmm.
A purification process that leads to greater self-awareness.
Exactly.
And ultimately, having proven their worthiness, they enter the Hall of Truth.
All right.
It's like the final test. A culmination of the soul's journey.
You got it.
This is also fascinating.
It is, right?
It feels like a crash course in ancient mysticism.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I'd love to get your expert take on everything we've discussed so far.
Okay.
Is there something that stood out to you from the lecture? Something that wasn't explicitly mentioned, but that sparked your own reflections?
You know what resonated most deeply for me was a recurring theme of purification and transformation. You know, whether it's the elements, the zodiac, the Hebrew alphabet, or these Egyptian rituals, they all point towards this process of refining ourselves, shedding limitations, and realizing our true potential. It's like this journey of aligning with the cosmic order and becoming more than we ever thought possible.
That's a really profound insight.
Thank you.
And it raises a question for our listeners.
Okay.
What aspects of yourselves might you need to purify or transform in order to approach this ancient knowledge with a clear and open mind?
I love that.
That's something to ponder as we continue our deep dive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It really is an intriguing question.
It is. It's not just about accumulating knowledge. No. It's about embodying it, integrating it into our lives.
Exactly. And that's where those practical tools like the fourfold breath meditation come in. You know, it's a technique anyone can use to cultivate inner peace and connect with their true nature.
And it's incredible how relevant these ancient practices are in our modern world.
You know, it's funny you should say that because I was thinking the same thing this morning.
Yeah.
Everyone feels overwhelmed and out of balance sometimes.
All the time.
Right. It's just part of being human.
Exactly.
And that's precisely why these ancient systems resonate across cultures and time periods.
Right.
They speak to that deep longing within us for connection, meaning, and purpose.
Totally. And the lecture really highlights that connection. Drawing those parallels between different traditions.
Right.
Like the idea of the pillars representing opposing forces. We see that in various mystical systems.
We do.
Not just the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
Absolutely. It's an archetype that points to a fundamental truth about the universe.
Right.
Duality is inherent in creation.
So it's not about eliminating one side in favor of the other.
Exactly.
It's about finding balance.
It is. And the ancient Egyptians, they understood this concept really well.
How so?
Well, they had this concept of Ma'at, which was often depicted as a feather, and it represented truth, justice, and cosmic order.
So it was a state of harmony.
Yes.
Achieved through that balance of opposites.
Precisely. It reminds me of the yin-yang symbol.
Oh, yeah?
You know, where the black and white halves each contain a seed of the opposite within them. They can't exist without each other.
Exactly. And that understanding of balance, it's so essential for navigating the spiritual path.
It is. And even that journey through Amentet, as described in the Book of the Dead, it's all about confronting our shadows, integrating our fragmented selves, and ultimately achieving wholeness.
And that 17th chapter really paints such a vivid picture of that journey.
It does.
With the soul declaring, I know the northern and the southern pillars, the two columns at the gateway of the Hall of Truth.
Powerful imagery, right?
It is. It feels like passing through those pillars represents this profound shift in consciousness.
It's a symbolic representation of overcoming duality and accessing this higher level of awareness.
And the initiate, having united with Osiris, becomes Team made one with all things.
Right.
It's a state of transcendence and enlightenment.
Exactly. So it's not just about a physical death and going to heaven. It's about this transformational journey of self-discovery and spiritual evolution.
Totally. And the 125th chapter takes this transformational process even further.
It does.
The initiate faces the 42 judges. Representing different aspects of the self. And confesses their innocence of various sins.
Like a symbolic reckoning. With our past actions.
A purification process. That leads to greater self-awareness.
And ultimately, having proven their worthiness, they enter that Hall of Truth.
It's like the final test, the culmination of the soul's journey.
And did you notice how the initiate has to name the pillars?
Oh, really?
and their parts.
Okay.
They're demonstrating their understanding of the symbolism.
Oh, I see.
It's not enough to simply believe.
Right.
True knowledge requires comprehension and integration.
So it's not blind faith.
No.
It's about actively engaging with these teachings.
Right.
And applying them to our lives.
Exactly. The Egyptian Book of the Dead isn't just a passive text to be read.
Uh-huh.
It's a guidebook for navigating the spiritual path, a roadmap for inner transformation.
And the lecture really emphasizes that practicality.
It does.
Doesn't it? This isn't theoretical mumbo-jumbo.
No, not at all.
It's about using these ancient tools
Right.
to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
Absolutely. Whether it's meditating with the fourfold breath, performing the Kabbalistic cross,
Right.
or simply contemplating the symbolism of the pillars,
Yeah.
these practices offer tangible ways to connect with our inner wisdom
Right.
and align ourselves with that cosmic order.
You know, it's striking me that this ancient wisdom
Yeah.
isn't so ancient after all.
I know, right?
It's timeless knowledge.
Uh-huh.
That's just as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago.
I couldn't agree more.
These teachings offer such a profound understanding
They do.
of the human condition
Right.
and the universe we inhabit.
Absolutely. The more we delve into them, the more we discover about ourselves and our place
Right.
in the grand scheme of things.
It's like we're peeling back those layers of an onion,
Oh, I like that.
revealing more complexity and beauty with every layer.
And what's amazing is that journey of discovery never ends.
Right.
There's always more to learn,
Yeah.
more to explore, more
Yeah.
to integrate.
It's like an open invitation to embark on this
Yeah.
lifelong adventure of self-discovery.
Precisely. And that's the true power of ancient wisdom.
Okay.
It empowers us to become active participants in our own evolution,
Yeah.
shape our destiny,
Yeah.
and create a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
Wow, that's incredibly inspiring.
Thank you.
But before we get too carried away,
Okay.
something specific from the lecture caught my attention.
Mm-hmm.
It mentioned that the archaic illustrations on the pillars
Yes.
were one black on white and the other white on black.
Right.
What's the significance of that detail?
That's a fascinating detail, isn't it?
It is.
It really highlights that interplay of opposites.
Yeah.
The idea that darkness and light, masculine and feminine,
Yeah.
aren't separate entities, but intertwined aspects of a unified whole.
So it's not about eliminating one side in favor of the other,
Right.
but about finding that perfect equilibrium,
Yes.
that sweet spot where everything flows in perfect harmony.
Exactly. The ancient Egyptians understood this concept deeply, and they encoded it into their art,
Right.
their architecture, their rituals.
It's like they were trying to teach us a profound lesson about the nature of reality.
Yeah.
A lesson that's just as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago.
And it's a lesson we would do well to remember.
Right.
In a world that often feels so polarized and divided,
Yeah.
embracing that concept of balance can be such a powerful tool for creating a more harmonious and fulfilling life.
That's a really important point.
It is.
It's like these ancient teachings are offering us this blueprint
Yeah.
for navigating the complexities of modern life.
And they're reminding us that true wisdom lies not in clinging to one side or the other, but in finding that delicate balance, that golden mean,
Right.
where everything comes together in perfect harmony.
That's such a beautiful thought.
It is.
It's like a call to action,
Uh-huh.
an invitation to embrace the wisdom of the ancients
Right.
and apply it to our own lives.
And the beauty of it is that this journey of self-discovery is available to everyone.
Yeah.
It's not limited to scholars or mystics. It's a path that anyone can embark on
Right.
with an open mind and a willingness to learn.
That's truly inspiring.
It is.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
All right.
is there anything that stood out to you personally?
Yeah, you know what struck me most was that emphasis on purification and transformation. These ancient systems, whether it's the Egyptian Book of the Dead
Yeah.
or the Kabbalistic Tree of Life,
Right.
they all point towards this process of refining ourselves,
Right?
of shedding our limitations, and ultimately realizing our true potential. It's a journey of aligning ourselves with the cosmic order,
Right.
and becoming more than we ever thought possible.
That's a really profound insight.
Thank you.
And it makes me wonder what aspects of ourselves might we need to purify
Right.
or transform
Yeah.
in order to approach this ancient knowledge with a clear and open mind.
It is something to ponder.
It is.
And perhaps that's the most valuable lesson we can take away from this deep dive.
Okay.
That true knowledge begins with self-knowledge.
Right.
With a willingness to look within
Mm-hmm.
and confront our own shadows, our own limitations.
It's like these ancient teachings
Yeah.
are challenging us to embark on this journey of self-discovery, a journey that leads not only to greater knowledge,
Right.
but also to greater wisdom, compassion,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately to a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
Beautifully said. And perhaps that's the most valuable gift these ancient systems have to offer us.
Okay.
A roadmap for navigating the complexities of life. A guide for becoming the best versions of ourselves.
That's such an inspiring thought.
It is.
And it makes me even more excited to delve deeper into this world of ancient wisdom.
I'm with you.
Stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive,
Right.
where we'll continue to explore these fascinating concepts. It's amazing to think that this journey of self-discovery, this process of purification and transformation, is something that's been explored for thousands of years.
Yeah.
You know, it makes you realize how connected we are to those who came before us.
It really does. And, it's not an easy journey.
Right.
It takes courage and honesty and a willingness to let go of those comfortable but limiting beliefs that we might be clinging to.
Yeah. It seems like the real magic happens when we step outside of our comfort zones, when we embrace the unknown.
Right.
That's when true transformation can occur.
Absolutely.
But the lecture also mentioned the importance of community
Yes.
on this journey. It's not something we have to do alone.
That's such a key point. Connecting with others who share this thirst for knowledge and self-discovery, it can make all the difference.
Absolutely.
It creates a supportive space for exploring these ideas and supporting each other through challenges.
It feels like we're doing that right here, right now.
I think so too.
Sharing these insights, exploring these ancient mysteries together.
Yeah.
It's like we're weaving a tapestry of knowledge thread by thread.
What a beautiful image.
And each of us brings a unique perspective to that tapestry.
Right.
Our own experiences and insights that enrich the overall understanding.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating, isn't it? It's not just about learning facts.
Yeah.
It's about engaging in this dialogue.
Yeah.
Exploring different viewpoints.
Right.
And expanding our understanding of the world and ourselves.
And that dialogue extends beyond just us.
Oh, right.
We're tapping into this lineage of wisdom that stretches back thousands of years, connecting with the sages and mystics who dedicated their lives to understanding these mysteries.
It's like we're carrying the torch of ancient knowledge.
Yes.
Keeping that flame alive for future generations.
And each generation adds its own flame to that torch.
Right.
Illuminating the path for those who follow.
It's not just about preserving the past then.
No.
It's about using that wisdom to create a better future.
Precisely. These ancient teachings offer us a blueprint for a more harmonious and fulfilling world. A world where balance, compassion, and self-awareness are paramount.
And it all starts with each of us, with that commitment to inner transformation.
Yes. The journey begins within by cultivating self-awareness, embracing balance, and connecting with our true nature.
Right.
We become beacons of light.
Okay.
Radiating that transformative energy outward and creating these ripples of positive change that extend far beyond ourselves.
That's a beautiful thought. And it reminds me of that idea from the lecture, Light in Extension.
Right.
It's like we're meant to share this knowledge, to illuminate the world with the wisdom we've gained.
Absolutely. Knowledge is meant to be shared, to be passed on. And in doing so, we not only enrich the lives of others, but we also deepen our own understanding, connection to that wisdom.
It's like a virtuous cycle.
Yes.
A never-ending spiral of growth and expansion.
I like that.
This has been such an inspiring deep dive.
It has.
And it's clear that this is just the beginning.
Right.
There's so much more to explore, so much more to learn, so much more to integrate.
And that's the beauty of it. The journey never ends.
Right.
There's always another layer to uncover, another mystery to unravel, another step to take on this path of self-discovery.
So what's our next step? Where do we go from here?
That's a question each of us has to answer for ourselves.
Oh, okay.
But I believe these ancient teachings provide a compass, a guide for navigating the journey ahead.
Right.
By staying curious, by seeking knowledge, and by living our lives with intention and purpose, we'll continue to uncover the wisdom that lies within and around us.
Beautifully said. I think that's the perfect note to end on. Thank you for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the world of ancient knowledge. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and are feeling inspired to continue your own journey of exploration.
It's been a pleasure sharing this journey with you.
It really has. And remember, the wisdom of the ancients is always there, waiting to be discovered, embraced, and to guide us towards a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
It is.
So keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep the flame of knowledge burning bright. Until next time, fellow knowledge seekers, keep diving deep,